to evolve away from that. We needed that. That's the thing that people don't understand. We kind of villainize a certain thought process, like, oh, we are stuck in the struggle mentality. But there, you know, when someone stabs you and you have a wound, you don't just take the knife out and heal. So it takes them 1 second to stab you. It might take years for you to heal that wound, and the scar is still ever present. So we need to think about these things are the natural evolution in the way that people heal. It's not that we are being stuck. Yes, we need to move forward, but the focusing on the struggle was necessary in that time in the same way that saviorism was necessary in that time. Now we're moving along, and so these discussions are necessary.
Yeah, so what happens is, you're absolutely right. So even talking about it, it was definitely no knock on historically, because it was, like you said, absolutely necessary at that time. And the context of today is where I'm challenging it for the reasons that you just talked about, is opening up and planting the seed that if you're in a space where the charismatic leader can still capture you and you get behind them, as you said, and ultimately they're producing nothing, because hint, hint, perpetual struggle is a hustle. So that's the seed, because as you just mentioned, in today's time, there's a stranglehold collectively in even desiring that. While we all agree we get where it comes from, this is the seed to say, hey, y'all, that's not necessary, and nor does it lead to anything. Brother Unc, your thoughts, King. Hold on, let me bring you live. All right, go ahead, King.
Oh, man, interesting. So terms like Messiah, struggle, lack of freedom, and bondage. You know, that's like the Hebrew Israelite thing. We need our freedom as like a black African, the black power type of movement, the black organizations, grassroots. Savior, these things. Okay, these things run hand in hand, because you need a savior when you're economically downtrodden, because the savior's supposed to come through and put you back on top of your economics, because the savior is also supposed to come through and relieve you of the military struggle, because you're under a yoke of a certain power. So the savior does these things and motivates you and puts you in that position. So if you think you're in that position at all times, you'll never change. A great example is the Roman Empire. They went to the British Isles. Okay, they went to Britannica. Okay, they went to Germanica, and they fought these tribes that lived in the forests. And out of these tribes, messiahs rose. So it's not exactly a religious thing. It's really a position where people need great leaders to rise up to help them militarily and help them economically. These things go hand in hand. So when black people stay on that course, it's outright dangerous. So Brittany Griner, when she comes back to the United States, she's going to know that she's goddamn free. She's going to know the difference between being in Russia and being in the United States. She's going to recognize her freedom. We've been free for so long that we end the freedom and don't even realize we're free. That's the problem. So I like to use terms like space-age African. A space-age African or a space-age African-American recognizes freedom and want to take full advantage of it, whether it be through voting, whether it be owning stock, Bitcoin, just taking advantage of everything around us as African-Americans, that the Messiah that Malcolm X was, or you know, our favorite Martin Luther King, right? They did what they were supposed to do. Now we got to stay on that path. So for me, when I hear the struggle culture, I'm on the bottom now, I'm here, all that kills us dead. Man, look, we got our freedom, and as African-Americans, as space-age Africans, we got to take advantage of that. We're not Stone-Age Africans anymore. We focus too much time on our hunter-gatherer stages in the Stone Ages. We focus on our successes in the Stone Ages. But now in the world we live in, although we were rulers of the Stone Age, the world we live in is the Space Age. Now the African-American has to become the rulers of the Space Age.
I love the thoughts. Here's a perfect way to close out this segment. We're going to go to another break. And this thought comes from a brother I follow named Eli Marcus. And he wrote this in his amazing book called Secure the Throne. And it literally fits right on the head. You know, it's like perfect timing for you to come in and say what you just said. But he literally said this in his book, and I kept this quote out of the book, and it says, if throwing a spear during a war makes you feel more African than shooting a gun, then you are foolish and will die. We'll be right back to listen to the Mental Dialogue Talk Show, where all I ask is that you think.